Hi there, it's your host Elvis Okanwa, and welcome to the third lesson in our course Building a Profitable Quiz Funnel Design. I'm really excited that you decide to take this course because if you decide to build a quiz funnel traffic system for your business, following the steps in this course will make it a success. Now, in our very first lesson, we spoke about the psychology behind quizzes, the different psychologies behind quizzes. We also spoke about the different kinds of quizzes and their advantages. We also spoke about how you can find a great quiz title for your quiz. And finally, I showed you ways that you can create 7 steps you can take to creating a high converting quiz for your business. In our last lesson, we spoke about how you can create an outcome and an offer that converts, and how you can write quiz questions and answers that your audience will be interested and drawn to, and your drop-off will reduce in terms of how they go through your questions. Now, if you haven't watched those videos, please go back and watch them because they all lead to what we're going to talk about today, which is quiz funnel traffic system. All right, so that means your quiz is created, is placed on our platform, and now you want to start driving traffic to your quiz. All right, now in today's lesson, we're going to be looking at how you can target the right type of traffic, 5 traffic sources that works really well, and how you can create an evergreen quiz funnel traffic system for your business. All right, now I'm going to quickly share my screen so we jump into my presentation and we get started. So first, we're going to be looking at how you can target the right type of traffic using research targeting. Okay, now, if you don't have an audience, let's say, or even if you don't have a list or even a product to sell, if you're totally starting from scratch and you don't know what your quiz should be about, what should I write about? Like, what topics are people actually interested in? When you have that specific subject or topic that you're thinking about, okay, let's say, for example, adrenal fatigue. Okay, you have a product that helps with adrenal fatigue. Okay, now you're thinking of, you want to write a quiz based on adrenal fatigue. Now, the first thing you want to do is you go online and you start joining groups of people who are trying to solve that particular problem. Okay, you're looking for what are the challenges that people are writing about? What are they posting about? What are they sharing? Because this is a great starting point. And the best part about this is that you don't need any kind of experience to find these groups. It's totally free. It's gold in there. So like I said, you go on Facebook, you search adrenal fatigue. Okay, you go to groups, you look for those groups that have the highest number of members and you join them. Okay, now most of these groups, you'll be required to request a membership, but when you do that, they usually respond in a couple of days. And for most of them, you're not even required to request a membership. It's open access. Now, once you join these groups, what you're looking for are those posts that have the most engagements, the ones that have the most responses, the ones that have the deepest, longest, most passionate comments. And that gives you an idea about who your target audience should be and what your quiz should be about. For example, this post has 178 comments talking about chronic fatigue syndrome. That tells me that the conversation is serious. Okay, now when I look at the comments, I see that there are a lot of people having this particular issue and they're talking about it, they're expressing themselves in a deep way. Okay, now I know chronic fatigue syndrome is a problem. People are talking about it, but how do I write a quiz about it? What should the topic be? What should I focus on? So the next step is you want to refine your search, and that is where Google comes in. So you go to Google, you type adrenal fatigue, for example. You go to Mayo Clinic. Now in there, you get to see the causes or the symptoms of adrenal fatigue. Now, based off any of these symptoms, you can model your quiz. you can direct your product to solve that particular problem, because they're all symptoms of the main problem, which is adrenal fatigue. So you can focus on body ache, unexplained weight loss, low blood pressure, lightheadedness, and you can create your quiz to focus on this subject. So for example, if I was in this space, I can write a quiz. Are you suffering from adrenal fatigue? Are you suffering from body ache? Take this quiz to find out. Are you experiencing unexplained weight loss? Take this quiz and you might be surprised by the results. Are you at risk of low blood pressure? Are you at risk of skin discoloration? Okay, so Facebook, to figure out what they're talking about, Google to refine your research. You can also use Google to see other quizzes people have created in whichever space you decide to go about creating your quiz on. Okay, now similar to what you can do for Facebook, you can go to Reddit. You can join communities on Reddit. Check for those conversations that have the most deepest passionate comments. Look for what they're talking about. And in there, you can find subject matters, what you should focus on. Then you do the same process, you go to Google to refine your research. And that way you can figure out, okay, what should my quiz title be about? What should I focus, what subject or what problem should I focus my products to solving? Okay. And finally, you can go to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is great for B2B businesses. So if in a B2B space, you can go to LinkedIn, you search for those groups based on the subjects you have in mind, and you can join those groups. And in there, you're going to still find a lot of information that you can model your quiz towards. Okay. So those are the 4 ways that you can use research targeting to figure out what audience should you target, as well as what should your quiz focus on. You can also use this to find what should your quiz title be about. All right. Now, next, we're going to look at a couple of reasons why research targeting works so well. Okay. Now, you can find those issues, like I said, that your target audience are facing, and you can position your quiz to solve that issue. For example, we found chronic fatigue syndrome is an issue in the health and fitness space. And we also found a couple of symptoms related to chronic fatigue syndrome. So we can decide to create a quiz. Like I said, are you suffering from body ache? Take this quiz to find out if I want to focus on body ache. Okay. You can also use research targeting to find keywords your audience are using and use them in creating your quiz, your ads copy, for example, because that way you sound like an expert. You know, when you use the word or the lingo that your audience are using that particular niche in your quiz, they know you're an expert. They know, okay, he's really into this. These are the keywords that we use. So let's take a look at what he's talking about. All right. Now, lastly, it helps you know exactly where to reach out to your audience when you're done publishing your quiz. So are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? You know, where do they have the most conversations? You know, which platform do I go on? And when I check the groups, I see a lot of people talking about that problem. And that way, you know, okay, if you create a quiz on Facebook related to adrenal fatigue, you can join a group and you can post your quiz in that group. And a lot of people are going to see it because there are a lot of people on that group talking about the same issue. Okay. Now, next, let's look at 5 traffic sources that works really well. The first is Facebook and Instagram. Okay. Now, one of the reasons why Facebook works so well is because quizzes are incredibly shareable. So someone takes your quiz, if it's done well, they'll want to share it with your friends and so on. So I can say there are 2 main benefits to Facebook and Instagram. One, like I said, when someone takes your quiz and it's done well and they share it on Facebook, their friends can take the same quiz and share it to their own social network. So the possibility of your quiz going viral increases. That is free traffic for you. So one person shares, the next person shares with the social network. From their social network, the next person shares with the social network, and so on. So that's the first benefit of Facebook and Instagram. The second benefit is that if you're driving paid advertising on Facebook and you have a lot of engagement, Facebook pays you for all that engagement in the sense that they reduce your cost per lead. So they're going to be like, let's drive the cost of advertising for this particular client to be very cheap because they have a lot of engagement. So you can take down your cost per lead almost 40–50% from what it should be because you have a lot of engagement on Facebook. So Facebook and Instagram, that's the first traffic source. The next is YouTube. Now, YouTube is a great involvement mechanism to get your quiz takers to know more about you and the product that you want to sell. So let's say, for example, let's say I sell businesses and I decide, okay, I want to make a YouTube video. Hi, it's Elvis here. One of the biggest questions that people are having is, should I buy a business or a franchise? So I put together a free quiz called, should I buy a business or a franchise? Click the link below and I'll see you on the other side. So it's just a great way or a great involvement mechanism for you to take people from a video to where they get to know who you are, your business in a better way, and then you drive them to your quiz. So YouTube is a great way to put your quiz out there. Now the next is Google. Now imagine someone going online to Google and typing best email service provider, best phone case, or whatever it is. Now there's no more effective way to address these people than saying, hey, free quiz, take this quiz to find out what email service provider is right for you, or take this quiz to find out what phone case is right for you, and so on. So using Google, you can reach out to people that go to Google to search for particular issues, for particular problems they want to solve. So it's a great traffic source for your quizzes. Now, the next one is LinkedIn, which is the final one. Now, LinkedIn is great, like I said, for business to business, okay? So if, for example, you want to create a quiz, the best way to go about it, if you're in a B2B space, is to make that quiz an assessment, because that adds a level of professionalism to the quiz. It makes it more serious than calling it a quiz if you call it an assessment. All right. So LinkedIn, if you're targeting B2B businesses, or if you're in a B2B business, LinkedIn is a great traffic source. Okay. Now, next, we're going to look at how you can build an evergreen quiz funnel traffic system. All right, I'm going to show you different ways that you can add your quiz on your websites to generate leads from the traffic that is coming to your website. Okay, and I'm going to use a couple of examples as we go. Now, the different ways you can do this. First, you can add your quiz as a call to action on your homepage. Okay, you can enable a website pop-up for your quiz. You can add your quiz to the website navigation bar. You can make your quiz an announcement bar, and you can embed it directly on a page on your website or on a blog post or on the sidebar. So these are different ways that you can have your quiz on your website to generate traffic generate leads from the traffic coming into your website. Now let's go with the first one. Add a quiz as a call to action on your homepage. Now, here you have an example from one of our case studies of Empath Connection. He added the quiz to his website menu. He also added it as a CTA on his homepage. And this made him to be able to showcase his quiz to more website visitors. And this resulted in him generating 1,200 new health leads monthly with 53% quiz completion rate. He also used the demographic data he gathered from his quiz for feature prioritization to build personas, and for also content marketing strategies. All right, so simply by adding it to the homepage as a call to action and the website navigation, he was able to showcase this quiz to more website visitors that would have missed it in the first place. Now, secondly, you can add your quiz. So when you spoke about website menu, you can have your quiz on the hello bar. Okay, so when we say hello bar, we mean announcement bar. So you can embed your quiz there on the announcement bar. LeadQuizzes has the functionality, or our platform, that you can, from the LeadQuizzes platform, activate an announcement bar in such a way that when you go to your website, the quiz sits there like an hello bar, similar to what you see in the screenshot. All right, now we have an example of Date ID, one of our case studies, our success stories that we have on LeadQuizzes. He added an announcement bar to all the pages on his quiz. He also did an inline embed on the blog post. He was able to generate 3% conversion rate from the free trial offers, which he gave simply by doing this. All right, so you're able to showcase your quiz to more people. When they come on your website, they can easily click on take quiz. A pop-up shows up, or they get redirected to the page where you have your quiz embedded. They take the quiz and they continue down your website. And that way you're able to showcase to more people, and in the long run, you're able to generate more leads and more sales. You know, in the case of Date ID, using this, their conversion rates improve from 35% to 35%, of which 40% of those conversions moved on to paid users. So picture that. If they were getting 100 leads and they were able to convert 3%, 3 leads, now they're able to convert 35 of those people. And of the 35 of them, 40% moved on to being paid users. Okay, so it's a really great way. Now, the next is to embed your quiz directly on a page on your website or on a blog post or on a sidebar. LeadQuizzes gives you the functionality that whenever you create a new quiz, you get an embed code specific to that quiz. Using that embed code, you can embed your quiz on a page on your website, on a blog post, on the sidebar, right? And I have an example here of Date ID, similar to what we spoke about. Then finally, you can activate your quiz as a website pop-up. So we also give you this flexibility of functionality that from your LeadQuizzes account, you can enable your quiz as a website pop-up on your website for different behaviors. You can enable your quiz in such a way that whenever your visitor comes to your website, they get to see a pop-up, or when they come to your website, after a couple of seconds, they get to see a pop-up, or when they come to your website, when they're about exiting the website, they get to see a pop-up. And we do have all these functionalities that you can use to activate the pop-up on your website. All right. So if you have 2 or 3 of this implemented on your website, you can be sure that you're going to generate leads from the traffic coming into your website, even without paid ads. Okay. So either you have it on the navigation bar, you embed it as a CTA on the home page. You can embed it directly on a page or a blog post. You can activate it as an announcement bar or a website pop-up. All these are ways you can have your quiz on your website using LeadQuizzes that you're sure you're going to generate leads from the traffic coming to your website without paid ads. All right. For the next lecture, we're going to be showing you I'm going to be teaching you basically how you can split test your quiz and a couple of other tests. So stay tuned and thank you for joining. Cheers.